In this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what you need to do if you are looking for a Catholic spouse and haven't found one yet. And at the end of this video, I'll include an incredibly powerful prayer that my wife finished the day before she met me. Before I get into the practical side of things, I just want to make a couple points. First is that you are not helpless. You are capable of changing your life and the lives of those around you. You have an incredible amount of power. You are not a victim in your own life. You are able to cause real change. So what I would like to invite you to examine and to think about in this video is maybe if you haven't found your spouse yet, it might partly be your own fault. And that's a good thing. The reason that's a good thing is because if it is your fault, then you have a chance to fix it. If you're just a victim of circumstance and things are happening to you that you can't control, well, it's not your fault, so there's nothing you can do to change that. So what I would invite you to do in this video in humility is look at yourself, look at your own life, and try to figure out what's your fault. What's keeping you back from finding the woman of your dreams? That's your fault that you can fix and improve upon. And the second point I would like to make is that you are not owed a spouse. You're not owed a perfect, beautiful, lovely wife. No. If you want that, that is a prize. That is a beautiful thing that everybody's aspiring to. And in a certain sense, you have to earn it. You have to be worthy of the woman that you're trying to attract. You have to be worthy of the woman of your dreams. So before I get into any practical tips in this video, first look at yourself and ask yourself, what are my glaring defects? If I were looking at myself from an outside perspective, what would I say to improve? If I were not me and I was looking at myself, how would I improve? One of the tips that St. Ignatius of Loyola gives for discernment is imagine that you met a man who is in the exact same circumstances as you on the street, and he told you what was going on in his life, and then he asked for your advice. What would you say? That's what you should do regarding your own life. You should ask yourself questions like, am I virtuous enough to have a family? Am I stable enough to have a family? Am I presenting myself in a way that is presentable, that allows women to actually have an opportunity to engage with me? Because these are real practical questions that you need to ask yourself, and you need to answer well and truthfully if you're going to have a chance at finding the woman of your dreams. All of that being said, what do you do to find the woman of your dreams? The way it works are there are basically two spheres. One is women that you are able to attract, and two is women that you're able to interact with. If you have a high degree to attract women, and when I say attract women, I don't mean it in a sleazy way, but I mean is if you are a virtuous man with your prayer life put together, and you're healthy, and you take care of your physical fitness and your appearance, and you have your finances in order, and you're able to take on a family financially, if you have those things in place, you're going to be able to attract a high-quality, virtuous Catholic woman. If you don't have those things in place, it's going to be much more difficult. So the first thing is women that you are able to attract. You need to get those areas of your life straightened out, and you'll become more attractive to women. And the second part is women that you are actually able to interact with. If you live in a small town in Indiana like I did, I had to move to find my spouse because the majority of women in the county that I grew up in were my cousins. That's not going to work. So once you figure yourself out and you get yourself in a good spot where you're able to take on a virtuous wife and provide for children, then you need to look at how am I going to encounter women who are of a high quality. I do not recommend Hinge. I've heard of it working. I do not recommend dating apps like that. I recommend going to churches that have a quality adult group, a quality young adult group, and you'll probably find that at the liturgies that are reverent, because young people, look at the Latin Mass numbers. Young people are just drawn to the traditional liturgies in droves. And the people that end up at those liturgies, they don't go there on accident. They go there on purpose because they take their faith seriously. So I would recommend trying to find a parish with a very, very good Orthodox liturgy. Start attending Mass there on Sundays and just try to mingle with people afterwards. And if you don't live by one of those, you may just have to move. I had to move across the country to find my beautiful bride. And now we live in Phoenix, Arizona with our 2 kids. None of this is a guarantee. None of this is a get rich quick scam, get a wife quick scam. It's not that. What I'm saying is, in order for you to find a good Catholic spouse, you need to first recognize maybe there are things that you can fix that are your fault that would make it easier for you. And that you're not owed. Nobody owes you a perfect, wonderful spouse. You have to go out and you have to be worthy of the woman of your dreams. Next, try to make yourself appealing to women so that you have an opportunity to go on dates with them and find your spouse. And then thirdly, make sure that you are in an environment where there are actually women who are single, who are high caliber women for you to start dating. And if you do that, the numbers are going to start to shift in your favor. But keep in mind, even if all of this is in place and you have done everything that I just laid out in this video perfectly, you may not find a spouse immediately. Sometimes God gives you a desire and then asks you to sacrifice that desire to Him, at least for the time being. He does this in order to purify us and in order to make sure that we don't become spoiled brats. If God just gave us everything that we wanted all the time, we'd turn into monsters. So do what you can in order to bring about your marriage, and then surrender the rest to God and surrender your desire for marriage to God, because God wants your happiness even more than you do, and God knows what's good for you even better than you do. So if you have that longing on your heart for a good Catholic spouse and you feel like it's put there by God and you feel like your vocation is certainly marriage, offer that back to God and even offer it up for your future spouse. That's what my wife did for me, and I appreciate it so much. If you think that you are called to marriage and you feel that yearning on your heart, offer that to God. And if you want to join me and a group of other men in praying the Rosary daily and in Bible study, then you can check out the link in the description, and I'll see you there. And before I forget, the prayer that I promised at the beginning of the video is the Saint Raphael Novena. Saint Raphael is the patron saint of happy meetings. So if you want to happily meet your spouse soon, then check out the link in the description. And the last thing I'll say is, if you're praying 5 decades of the Rosary daily, God promises signal graces. This will take the guesswork out of dating, because God will signify to you, He'll signal to you the direction that you're supposed to go and the woman that you're supposed to marry. So pray 5 decades of the Rosary every day and your discernment process will be expedited.